I've seen the two episodes. I enjoyed the show, but why don't you tell me how did you get involved in it?
All right. Well, it's simple enough. They reached out to me on Instagram and asked me if I wanted to be considered for the show, because the showrunner saw my work online, and I guess that was my business card.
That way. And for people who haven't seen it, what makes this show different than some of the other cake, I guess, even cake Halloween shows there are now? There's lots of them.
I think what makes this show different is that the cakes are had to have like a special effect aspect to them, and the show really leans into that special effect part of it, which we need for like a horror type film or show. So yeah, it highlights that part.
Right. Did you learn anything about like from special effects wise that maybe you'll try in your stuff after?
I learned a lot of stuff, but I did learn that it takes a team to do special effects. You'd have you'd have the bakers presenting, but then you'd have the special effects team. So I don't know if I can do it myself, that would be amazing. That would be a talent on its own. But I would like to dabble.
Yeah. I didn't really think about it. They make it sound very easy, even if it's not.
Yeah, nothing's really like Well, I don't know if there are mechanical. Yeah, there are
There's
mechanical
some,
things,
yeah, there's some
but
mechanics.
some things are like very practical, and I think that's what adds to the charm of the special effect, you know?
Yeah.
It's right in front of your eyes, kind of like live theater.
Yeah, true. So what was it like getting to work with Matthew and Danielle?
Oh my God. So this is my first time ever judging a show. And going to the first dinner with Blumhouse team and them and meeting them, I was so nervous. I thought, they're these big icons and I'm kind of just like waltzing in as a content creator. But once I voiced that I was kind of nervous, they really took me under their wing and they were like, "You're gonna be okay, kiddo," basically. And I watched what they did and I took cues from them and I was like, okay. After the first time we shot, I was like, I got this, I can do this. So it was it was very nice to have them there.
So would you want to judge something again? You enjoyed doing it, I take it.
I will only judge and never compete now.
Never compete. All right. We'll get to that in a minute. But first I want to ask you, you talk about you went to see Blumhouse people. I'm guessing you're probably a horror fan then. From
I am
everything I've seen of your stuff, I'm guessing.
I'm a horror fan, but mostly I love the ambience of just a magical, eerie world. I'm not too big on like gore or killing or anything like that. So there's like a fine line to what I like or what I'm comfortable with. I like the mystique of it all.
Oh, that's cool. You actually sound more like me. I do not like torture porn, but I like all the
Yeah,
other weird, creepy stuff. So,
yeah.
when you were judging, what were you looking for in particular? Was there anything like what were you thinking, I guess, as you were judging is more better question.
Right. Well, I was looking for attention to detail. I was looking for how do you say this? Like the size of things. How do I say it? It's
Portion?
proportions. I was looking for proportions. I was looking to see what materials they use and how creatively they use them. So I was pretty shocked at some of those things. And lastly, it has to look good, but it has to taste good. It always sucks to have like a really pretty cake that's covered with like fondant and you go into it and it tastes like crap.
Yes.
So I made sure that I was judging evenly, look good, taste good, 50-50.
That's fair. Let me ask you, being a judge, did you expect to get so messy yourself?
Not at all. Like, oh, that was a crazy, crazy experience. So, this is how it went. So the special effect didn't look like it was working, and I went in closer to see because it was just like a little drip of vomit that came out of that cake. And I went closer and then it just exploded in my face. And I don't know if it was the special effects people playing a trick on me or if it actually was, just working, like started to work in that moment. But I wasn't expecting it. And I was really, I at first I was shocked. Then I was like, kind of I guess you could see I was kind of like upset because I made my wardrobe the collar with the Beatles and it got red all over it and I was like, "Oh no, what am I gonna do for the rest of the shooting?" So um we got everything squared away, wardrobe helped me clean up and everything and it was fine, but looking back at it's just so funny.
Yeah, I thought that it was done until it's confused.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess you
So
never know though on a competition show how it's going to go. So, let me ask
exactly.
you. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I was like saying exactly. It was like, oh no, I've been reality TV'd. I can't believe that happened to me. Because like I'm a very practical person, so I went on and I was like, I'm not gonna, just do those things that those reality people do. I'm just gonna be me. But then like the reality really reality'd, and I was like, oh my God, I have to react to what's going on. So yeah, it
Yeah.
was
Well, it was good for the show. It worked for the show, even
yeah,
if it wasn't 100% enjoyable.
right.
So, let me ask you, from what I tried to find it to watch and couldn't, but you started out, you won Craftopia. So you do a lot of crafts, not just food, but it sounds like you started more on the craft side of it. Is that?
Yeah, absolutely. Crafting is my pride and joy, and that's why I craft with food. I don't consider myself a chef or a baker. I consider myself an artist, and I think food is the best medium to create art because one, it's the most impressive, but two, it's not lasting, so it holds a lot more value in the moment.
Also, you don't got to find a place to keep it either.
Yeah, so it only survives forever through photo or video.
So there wasn't something in particular though that led you from like making crafts to making food. You just kind of organically decided to try it, or
No, actually, so I was raised by my grandmother, and she was really into like Halloween and like horror and stuff. We would really celebrate that together all year. But I bake with her a lot, and I write this in my new book that's coming up later this month. But um, there was one Christmas that I was sifting flour, and I noticed that there were dead flower beetle larvae
ew.
in the in the flour, and I was like, this is so gross, but so cool. And it was during Christmas time, so I was like, this is like it just really like lit my imagination on fire, and I was like, what if I made these edible, So it was just like that. And I brought that flower beetle story to the show in a way. The beetles on my collar are flower beetles
Yeah.
in full maturity. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna bring a little bit of my grandma to this with me. So
Well, that's cool. Yeah. If it gave you the idea, then I guess it's cool. I don't know. I'm not a bug person. Fake bug,
oh,
but not real bugs.
right, right. Well, the thing with making them out of food is like you're really feeding on the fear of that. Like it really makes you squirm. So I really love to get that reaction out of people.
So talk a bit more about your book. Like what, I mean, it's recipes too, right? From what I was getting out
Yeah.
of
So, Peculiar Baking, A Practical Guide to Strange Confections comes out October 29th. It is a recipe book, but it's all food art, and it's not just for Halloween as people would think. It is actually for all year, because like as we know, like I just said, I found those beetles in the flour during Christmas time, and in spring the spiders come out. So it's kind of like just highlighting peculiarity throughout the year in the cookbook.
So let me ask you though, from going to making things, how did you get into doing content creation with it? Was it just after you won the show that it kind of went that way?
Actually, before the show and
Oh,
everything, I worked for a content creation company in Los Angeles where we did DIY crafts for Facebook. And I worked there for 2 years until the pandemic. And it wasn't until, 3 months into the pandemic where I was like, the world's going to end and I'm not going to do what I'm passionate about if I work for this company. So I quit. And I just changed what I was doing into a darker type ambiance and I created practical peculiarities. And that's another way that Craftopia found me was through Instagram. So, like I said, whatever I post online is kind of like my business card. So,
yeah.
yeah.
Do you have like a favorite of one of the things that you've made that's either in the book or just on your Instagram?
Yeah, there's the one in the book that I love and on Instagram. It's called Apple iPie, and it is the first big, how do I say, so the first piece, our first video that got most views, and it really like resonated with people. Gordon Ramsay actually duetted it, and that's kind of what helped my page blow up so much, is because his duet exposed that cool Apple iPie to the world. So the Apple iPie was inspired by the phrase "You're the apple of my eye," and so it was a pie shaped like a heart with a little eye in the middle, and it was actually for Valentine's Day.
Yeah, definitely not what you would normally expect for Valentine's Day.
Right. It's the
Sorry.
creepiest part of that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I got a little bit off track of the cake. Sorry. Let me ask you: do you watch like food competition shows and stuff like that, or
I do. I watch some shows like I think Nailed It is a really funny show. Watching these amateur people try to create something is just hilarious because as a food artist, I know what you're supposed to do, and then just watching them and being like, "Oh no, no, don't do that!" It's just it really gets me out of my seat.
right? Well, I've been looking at your stuff. I'm enjoying it. I cannot cook, but I enjoy watching. I get lost in the Instagram rabbit hole a lot of times. So
Thank you. That's why I do it, for you to get lost there.
I like the mandrake too. That was the other thing I liked was your mandrake.
Oh, yes.
That was
Thank
kind of old,
you.
I think, on your stream, but still. All
Yeah.
right. Well, thank you. I appreciate your time. I look forward to people seeing the show. It was fun.
Yes, thank you so much. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.